Everyone, we are live. We are live, live, live. No, I haven't done this in such a long time. So I appreciate your patience in us putting out content that's relevant for your use. I know a lot has changed since we last met. Namely, my beard is gone, right? So we're trying to make some innovations, right? But regardless, we're gonna move on with the same content or more content, I should say, that would help our listeners to understand how to protect their assets and to ensure that they're continuing to grow their wealth. All right, this is Marlon Brammer, aka your family banker, and we are live here talking about pour over wills. So I'm going to give it a little minute for more people to get in on this live. So if you're listening or you're watching, I'm going to give you a minute to pop in and just say hi. Say hi on the stream. All right. Now, a pour over will. Let's talk about that for a quick minute. And we've been talking about so many things with regard to estate planning. Uh, we never actually touched on certain specific documents included in your trust package, right? So, a part of your trust package, if you should create a trust, you want to ensure that you have within your trust a will, right? So I know that sounds counterintuitive because the only reason, or one of the best reasons to create a trust, is to avoid the frailties involved with a will, right? So a will, as you and I know, or everyone should know, that there is a specific frailty with a will. A will has to go through probate, right? So we can't avoid probate with will. In fact, the whole process of probate is to validate a will, right? So if where there's a will, I always tell my clients where there's a will, there is a not way, but a probate, right? So we want to make sure that we're avoiding probate. So today we're going to be talking about a pour over will and why it's necessary for it to be included in your trust package, right? I just said that a will doesn't avoid probate, but why would you ever put a will in a trust package to ensure that, and we're trying to avoid probate with a trust? So a pour over will is simply a will that would essentially pour over, just as you'd pour a cup of coffee, I'm sorry, cup of coffee into a cup, you'd pour over your wishes into the trust. In other words, you're assigning the duties that would otherwise be included in a will into the trust. So it's a very important yet insignificant document. It's important because, one, we're establishing that the will contains nothing of importance. And in so doing, we're essentially making that document um, very inconsequential. So when we examine the document, the will itself, it will literally say that, the wishes that I intended to convey in this specific will are contained in my private trust. And as you know, a trust is a private document, right, that would not be administered in a probate proceeding. So, in essence, we're avoiding probate by pouring over our wishes into this specific trust, right? So, even if we should try to administer that will, it wouldn't provide us with any mechanisms to do so. So, in other words, we're going to be avoiding probate with a pour over will. So, if you are in the process or if you're thinking about creating a trust, you want to make sure that within your trust package, there is a pour over will because it helps to protect you and avoid probate by essentially transferring the assets from the will to the trustee, especially if you've already created a testamentary document such as a will, and now you're in the process of trying to create a trust. Then that's the steps that you want to take so far. So it's important for us to do so. We are going to be live once again in the next half an hour. We're actually going to be doing our live workshop with everyone in that workshop who've already registered. They're going to essentially being given the opportunity to, one, do their own design on their trust. They're going to be given the opportunity to, two, essentially save on the process, because guess what? They're the ones doing the design in the workshop. So we have these workshops ever so often, once a week, every Sunday evening, trying to essentially offer some assistance to those who may want to save on the cost, may want to be more hands-on with the process, and want to ensure that they're getting their wishes heard and done. So the part of the workshop is simply sitting on a live call with you and others who are interested in, one, saving, and two, being able to do it themselves. They're going to be walking through the process of designing their trust right here on the call. It's going to be a Zoom call. In fact, let me go ahead and put the link to the Zoom call in our chat, so that if you're interested in joining in that Zoom call, you can so certainly do so. Right. So please feel free to join. And obviously, you're going to be saving significantly because, one, you're doing it by yourself, or with the assistance of myself on the call, I should say. And two, you'd be essentially responsible with the funding of the trust. As we know that once we create a trust, it's important. The most important step is to ensure that it is funded. Right? What does that mean? That simply means that if you are creating a trust and you want to make sure that a house is put into the trust, bank accounts, certain assets, you want to make sure they're either assigned or placed in the trust, right? Repositioned in some way, or placed in the trust. You are going to ensure that that is done by contacting those custodians, and also ensuring that the transfers are complete. The most important step. It's a step that a lot of a lot of times I've seen clients not having completed that step. They completed the creating of the trust, but they actually never did transfer the assets to the trust. Right. So that's one of the elements that you're going to be essentially responsible for, so that you could essentially save on the cost of the trust. Again, we only have these workshops once a week. It's done on a Sunday. I know it may or may not be inconvenient for you, but we try to make it as convenient as possible for as many people as possible, so that you could essentially, one, take control of your estate, and two, design it in a way that you want it to be designed. And so you're essentially putting your fingerprints all over the design process. And three, actually going to be saving significantly by doing so. One, because you're doing the design, and two, you are saving on the cost. Now, if you are in the state of Florida, right, you can certainly join us on this workshop. If you are not in the state of Florida, please let me know, and I'll be happy to provide you with a referral that is out of state. Right. So we are licensed in the state of Florida. We're a law firm that practices in the state of Florida, and as such, this workshop is open to residents of the state of Florida. So if you want to do something similar, I do have referrals out of state that I could provide for you, that you could do something similar and save from that process. All right. So if you don't have any other questions, I am going to go ahead and prepare for this workshop, but the link is in our chat. Please feel free to join us. It's going to be starting in the next 20 minutes or so. We already have people who have shown interest in actually joining in our workshop. So I'll see those on the other side. More instructions will be provided as far as the savings that you're going to be experiencing and the process in which it's going to be done. You will need, just in case you're considering jumping on, you will need at least to interface with your laptop or your computer while you are listening to the instructions. So there are a couple of ways that you could do so. You could either have the Zoom app. It's going to be in Zoom, and either have the Zoom app minimized to one side where you're actually seeing me going through the steps, or while you're actually doing it yourself. So you're essentially mirroring what I'm doing, or you could essentially have it one on your phone and the other on your computer, so that you could be free to observe while you're entering the information on your computer into your own personal software that would essentially come back to us to assist you with the completion of the draft. So the only this step that we're going to be involved in is ensuring that it's drafted properly, right? You are essentially doing the input for yourself, and we're following up, ensuring that it is drafted properly. You get a first draft, and you'll get the opportunity to review it and give us any feedback or any changes that you want to make. And upon that completion, you could obviously get it signed, witnessed, and notarized, and properly funded. Very important step. Make sure that it is properly funded. All right. Thank you so much. The pour over will is pretty straightforward. It is a will that pours over the wishes from your will to a trust, thereby assisting or essentially ensuring that probate is avoided by not having to administer a will, or if the will was administered, it wouldn't have any significance other than the fact that it instructs us that the assets are now owned by the trust. Very nifty document, very important to have in the package. And once you join us on the workshop, you have that as well in the package. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the chat. Give us a like, a thumbs up, however you want to do it, whatever platform you're on, whether it be Facebook, Twitter. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, right? So feel free to jump in and give us a like, comment, any feedback that you like to hear. If you wanted to for us to cover any other subjects, and we'll do it from time to time, please feel free to leave that in the comment section so that we could go ahead and follow up with you and get the information out in a speedily fashion. Again, my apologies for not coming out with more content, but we're back on track, and we should be providing you with more content. But for now, let's start with the pour of a will, and I'll see you in the next 10 minutes or so. All right, thanks. Bye.